Hi, everyone. Welcome to this morning's session. Thank you so much for joining us. If you are watching live, welcome. It's good to have you here. You're welcome to post comments for Coach Henk to answer. If you're watching on the replay, just type in the hashtag replay. I know most of you are probably at work at the moment, but if you are joining us on the replay, we'd still love to hear from you if you have any questions or comments, so feel free to ask. Today, I have with me Coach Henk from Sports Hub franchise. We'll tell you all about that later on. Coach Henk is, he's a magician with children. Let me just tell you that. If you've ever seen him work with children, you'll know what I mean. But he started coaching when he was 19 years old after studying movement sciences in Pretoria. Yeah. And he has been coaching ever since. So he was part of the Playable franchise. And then in 2014, he started his own franchise of coaching and mini sports. And I'd love for him to tell us more about that. So today, the reason we brought you together is because not only does Coach Henk have Sports Hub, but his most recent creation is My Sports Hub, an online coaching platform for parents and children. But first, Coach Henk, you have coached for decades.
Sure.
Not that you're that old. But tell us a bit about what have you learned and what have you noticed over the years? What stood out for you as you started coaching and working with children all this time?
Yeah, good morning, Celeste, and thank you so much for the chat. I look forward to it. It's incredible to think. I mean, I've started in the previous centuries. Back then, coaching was coaching children of the younger age groups. There were not many different people doing it. As you said, I was involved in Playball, which is a franchise that truly changed the face of coaching. I mean, they were the first to formalize the program, and it was an absolute pleasure. I mean, we used to go out onto the courts, and we used to do it on tennis courts, and the parents used to bring their children to the venue, as we called it back then. And we were pioneers working out what to do, how to do it with children. And I was lucky because I was studying the same. I was studying sports and sports science, and the two sort of went hand in hand. And I fell in love with working with the younger age groups, and always just been a pleasure. I mean, 25, 27 years of coaching, and I must say that there's something you get from seeing a child going from not being able to do something to being able to do something, which is just a pleasure.
What have you learned about, what are some of the false beliefs that people have about children playing sport? And let's be honest, I have some biases about what I think about their sporting ability. Yeah. Tell me a bit about what you believe.
It's a difficult one, but if there's one thing that stands out, one belief that I think needs to disappear from the way that parents look at their children or think about their children, is to ask whether their child can be competent at sport. So many parents wonder, will my child be good at sport? Or I hope my child will be good at sport. And I think that's the biggest lie. I think the truth is that the question should be, what is my child good at? So it should be this journey of discovery, of play and discovery, to find out what my child loves to do, and how can I facilitate this process that they will play or find whatever they love. There's so many different activities that's available.
How do you choose?
Yeah, that's right. So, but in the beginning, of course, the choosing is not the important part. In the beginning, it's just to get your child to love to play. So, if you can get your child competent in playing, then the world opens up. Then they will be able to choose whatever they love, whether it's golf or whether it's cricket or whether it's tennis or whether it's surfing. The world will open up. So I always love to talk about reading, because I think it's a similar process where if you can teach your child to read, the world opens up. Whether they will read Spider-Man or whether they will read Shakespeare, you don't know. But the world is open. And it's the same with physical development. Your your child can be competent. Your child should be competent. But it's finding out, first getting them to be able to play, and then finding out, sort of testing and sampling and see what are they good at, and they will choose, they will decide.
So you're saying you should expose them to different things, to play in different ways.
Yeah, I think so. I think for a start, it would be to make sure that the foundation is in place. So in the beginning, there's no set rule on how fast your child will develop physically, but there's a set rule on the path that they get to competence. So there's very definitely an ABC to put in place in the beginning. Once the ABC is in place, we can make it more complicated, and they can learn a couple of more complicated skills. And once they've what we call cross the competency barrier, then they would be able to learn anything. Then they will be able to play anything. So the key is to make sure in this early age group that we focus on their physical development, because we know that all learning starts with movement. From birth, obviously 0 to 2, the parent is going to spend time with their child. They're going to focus very much on their physical development. They're going to make sure that they lie on their tummy, or that they crawl, and that they stand. And for a parent,
I did all the mom and baby classes.
Everything, mom and baby and mom and toddler, and they're going to make sure that they move properly. Yeah. Slightly older, when the child starts to go to school, there's a shift in focus. And the shift in focus becomes the child, there's a much bigger emphasis on almost academic development of the child. So the colors and the numbers and everything from 3, 4, 5, 6 years old, where in truth the focus should still be very much on the physical development. This is a key time for a child to become competent, what we call to become physically literate. They should be able to do the ABCs of movement.
That's interesting, because I've let that part slide. Now he can walk and run, so I let them loose into the wild.
Yeah.
I don't know how to then necessarily guide him in any different way until he gets to an age where he learns a sport.
Yeah, that's true. So I think it's many times is that parents are equipped and you're sort of experts on what you do. So whether you're an attorney, or whether you're a doctor, whether you're a nurse, you know about your fields. But I mean, as parents, we're not naturally gifted to always know exactly what to do with our children. As a father, I know that it's exactly the same with me. Is that in the beginning you don't have the faintest idea what to do or how to do it. And with physical development, most parents will most probably not know exactly what to do. It's not that it's difficult to do it. It's just that there's a set amount of skills to be taught, to be mastered. And if parents know what those skills are, it's relatively easy to make sure that either it's put in place at home, or that it's put in place by the coaches, by people like myself, that's employed to teach the child how to do these things. So physical development is incredibly important. From in the age group 0 to 9, well, I'm biased to it, but I would say it's the single most important thing for your child to do. 0 to 6, 100%. And then 6 to 9, it's that sampling phase where they're going to use this competence they've got in physical movement, and they're going to start to try out different sports until they find the one that they're good at and that they love. So we know that physical development is going to improve not only the physical ability, but also the emotional, social, and cognitive development of the child. It's got a direct impact on each of those aspects. So to have a child develop holistically, it's important that they can play. So if you take a 3 or a 4-year-old out onto the playground, they're going to run, and they're going to do the monkey bars, and they're going to jump and throw a ball. So at this age, that is what children do, and that is what they need to do. If all the other things is secondary importance. Again, I'm biased. I'll definitely say that. But physical development is everything that happens afterwards is built on physical competency.
Yeah. I hear it, and it makes sense, because I can see when my children play. If my son is a lot more physical, so he's always game. He's the one who runs with the other friends. He's the one who cycles with them. My daughter is less physical. She's always been less inclined to try physical things. She's very intuitive and emotional. So her emotional skills are it, and obviously that's my passion. So my little empath was able to recognize emotions since she was 18 months old. But I can see the difference in terms of how they're playing and their comfort with being outside and playing. So she often gets left behind because the other kids are running or they're cycling and she doesn't cycle yet. So you can see there's a little bit of exclusion.
Yeah. Children, what I've found over the years is that all children loves to play. It's not always that easy to figure out what they want to do, how to do it. But there's a key for each child. So you have to try and find the way, what does your child love to do? So if you can put in the right set of circumstance, and if you can find what they enjoy to do, then we are able to get them outside and play. So we're faced on a weekly basis with children that have different needs and different ways that they play. And I think the key is always to go and to find out what does that specific child like to do, and in order to get them to get the best out of them. So yeah, it's physical development. I would go as far as to say that all children like to play. It's just we as parents have to find the key to get them to unlock them to play competently.
And not to cut off opportunities for them, because my beliefs now already set or biases that my daughter's not so sporty may or may not be true. But it does influence how much exposure I give her to certain things. Like I'm almost encouraging my son to try different sports because he's such a strong little boy. But my daughter, I may not expose her to that because I have the mistaken belief that she might not be interested. But then the other day when we were playing with Milan with the tennis rackets and the balls, and she also picked up a racket and she also wanted to try. And so it would have been a mistake to not expose her, right?
Yeah, it's Celeste. That's an incredible observation, and for some other bizarre reason, we sometimes do that where boys are this and girls, and it's so, the science tells us. Yeah, the science tells us that boys and girls are more alike in the ages 0 to 6 than they are different, and I can tell you that the girls play up a storm. The girls are absolutely brilliant. There's no such thing as there's no such. The ages 0 to 6. I can tell you the girls will be as good as, if not better, as any of the boys on the field. But again, there is a difference in how to unlock it. There is a difference, for boys. There's no question that things like Spider-Man and Superman is a much easier way just to get them out and go do something. But I can tell you that the girls that we work with is as competent and is as good as the boys, no questions asked. And
you talk about unlocking it and a foundation that has to be there. Like how does that work?
The starting point is that we know for a fact that that in order for a child to become physically competent, that there's 3 different sort of pillars that needs to be completed. We've got something called locomotion, stability, and manipulation, and those are the 3 legs that competence stand on. And in each of those legs, there's about between 8 and 10 different skills that needs to be mastered. So if you're 3 years old, we know that you need to be able to run, to slide, to hop, to throw. You can think of it as an alphabet. So 24 different letters in the alphabet. And for your child to become a competent mover, they need to master each of those 24 different skills. And most of those skills, or many of those skills, come naturally. So children would run, children would walk, they would turn, they would climb. But some of those skills are not intuitive. So skills like leaping or sliding or galloping, not difficult skills to teach, but unless they are taught in a structured environment, chances are that your child will go through go through to primary school and beyond and not be able to do those skills. So a quick example might be something like a phrase which we hope to see throw in the dustbin of time, is like throwing like a girl or hitting like a girl, which is completely and utterly rubbish. What we should say is that that who's the coach that taught you how to throw? Because if he did his job properly or she did his job properly, then you would have thrown the ball as well as anybody. So, but the key to the process is that we've got 24 skills to learn. If we learn those skills, if we get this movement alphabet, then on that we will go to the next level. And the next level would be to take that movement skills, like running, sliding, skipping, and we'll structure them together into a sequence, and we'll turn them into sports skills. And it can be any sport. But if you live in South Africa, the sports that you'll be exposed to is going to be rugby, cricket, netball, soccer, hockey, and tennis. So those 6 sports, if you've got arms and legs and you live in South Africa, those are the sports that you'll be exposed to. And that's why we chose at My Sports Hub to use those 6 sports as the base to work from. So if we then take this movement alphabet and we put this little skills together, we can start to teach how to do a tennis forehand, or how to do a cricket overarm throw, or how to run and dodge in rugby. And so we start with the movement alphabet that we put in place. From the movement alphabet, we go to the sports alphabet. We start to teach those sports skills. And up to the age of 6, 7, whether your child is going to play hockey or whether your child is going to play golf is irrelevant, because your child needs to be competent in all of these different skills. So we teach throwing using a cricket ball, but in theory we can use a baseball, or we can use any other sport where the action is the same. We can do a javelin throw, but we use the 6 popular South African sports in order to get this child to be holistically competent. And after that, once the sports skills are in place and they've crossed the competency barrier, then we can start to sample the different sports. So whether you're a boy or girl, you should be able to dodge. You should be able to throw a big ball. You should be able to catch a small ball. And after the age, after you become sports competent, then we go into a phase where you can sample, whether it's basketball, whether it's rugby, whether it's cricket. You can sample various sports to decide which one is the one that you love and which one is the one that you are good at. And that's the goal.
Yeah. I love that exposure to all of the sports and that structured way of going through it. So I've never learned how to throw a cricket ball or a small ball, and I've had plenty of games where I played with my cousins in the field or on the beach or whatever, or even a rugby ball. Like we've played touches on the beach, and it's like you always lack a bit of confidence because now you don't really know how to handle the sport or what to do with it. And I want my daughter to be able to be confident with anything. Like I want her to be able to do everything that she wants to do. So I love that.
And she should. And that's the goal. The idea would be to say that I can't guarantee that your daughter would become a cricket superstar, but I can teach your daughter how to throw a ball properly. So and it's all about inclusion at that age. At the age of 5 or 6, physical competence is what you get measured in. So if you go play outside and you can't hang on the monkey bars, then you're excluded from the games. You are outside of it. So I'm not saying for a moment that physical competence will result in a competent child or a confident child emotionally and socially, but it definitely have a positive effect. So as a secondary benefit, there's no question that it will make a difference. So the goal would be that physical competence is going to make your child, is going to open a world for your child. But there's secondary benefits next to that, which I think is also important. So, and maybe sort of hooked onto that is that to get physical competence is not it's not, you don't need a coach to do it. You need
I was just going to say, so now we're at home. She's not even they're not even back at school yet, and definitely don't have
Look,
access to coaches at the one school. At the other school, yes, but at the one they don't. So now what?
Yeah. Look, you touched on it earlier. The Sports Hub is a coaching franchise similar to many of the other franchises out there. And the idea was that we create something where a parent can physically look at it and say, I can see that my child is good at these skills, and I can see that my child still needs assistance in the other skills, in 3 or 4 other skills. Of course, then with the world that changed 4 or 5 months ago, we expanded on the idea and we said, but what if we can't coach? We can't coach for the next 6 months, 8 months, maybe even more than that. So, but the child is not, your daughter is not going to stop developing. So we have to try and put something in place where we can guide a parent, we can at least show a parent what is important, and possibly find a way that they can go and play their child's competence. So this idea of conscious play from a parent, where they go outside and they just have absolute joy. But at the same time, I know that my daughter still can't slide. So at some point, I can try and wiggle in the slide and see whether I can't get her to be able to do that as well. So that right now, as we sit here, I think that for many parents, there's a little bit of a disconnect between the focus goes back into the almost like the school environment. And with my Sports Hub, hopefully, we can provide parents with enough information that they can say, I know what I need to do, I know how to do it, and I can go outside and I can play my child competent.
Oh, that's awesome. That's, it's literally like light bulbs going on for me, because as a parent, I literally don't know. I don't know what my child should be able to do. Academically, yes, because there's a lot of focus on that. Emotionally, yes, because that's my field of study. But physically,
there's a movement alphabet, there's a sports alphabet, and then there's a match alphabet. And each of those they sort of build on each other. So if your child is between the ages of 3 and 5, we start at the movement alphabet, because that's where we have to get that base in place. We're going to build all development in future on this foundation. And if there's gaps in the foundation, then your structure is not going to hold. So if I want our child to be able to play sport competently, then we have to make sure this foundation is 100% solid. And so that, the movement alphabet is where we start the process. And in this movement alphabet, we're going to make sure that each of those 24 different letters, movement letters, are taught. And the My Sports Hub platform provides parents with guidance on a weekly basis, where they can log in, they can have a look, and we will make sure that everything is covered. And for the parent, they just know, I need to do a slide and a skip and a hop this week. And we will make sure that it's not a process of that we have to try and push our child to be competent. The faster you're competent, the better they're going to be. It doesn't work like that. The importance is to make sure that your child is 100% comfortable doing each of these skills in an environment outside. So we're going to move from the movement alphabet, if your child is a competent mover, onto the sports alphabet, where we're going to try and put these skills into making sure that they are ready to learn to play the sports. And again, it's a process of starting at A and finishing at Z. We start with one at a time. And I've said it before, but the boys will learn how to pass a netball ball. They will be able to pivot. And the girls would be able to run with a rugby ball in 2 hands and pass it left and right. And if you can have a child at by the time they go to grade 1, to cross that competency barrier, the world is their oyster. They can learn anything. Yeah. The idea is to go outside and to play with your child. That's it. Dads want to do it. I know it for a fact. I know that most mums enjoy it as well. And the idea is that go outside and play with your child. Have a blast with them. Yeah. They want to kick. They want to throw. They want to do things. The key to the process is to be conscious about the play. So that as a parent, you should know, you know what, I still want to teach my child how to gallop. But for the child, it should just be an absolute blast. My son,
for them, it's just you spending time with them, having fun with them.
That's it.
But I like that idea of being conscious about as a parent, just to know, just to know that it'd be good for them to know these skills or to develop these skills.
Yeah.
But for the child, it's just having fun and playing with you and spending
Your
time
child,
together.
or any child that I've ever played with that is 5 years old, can't care less whether they can throw the ball or whether they catch the ball. That what they want to do is they want to have a job. They want to play. They want
Yeah.
to run around with their buddies, and they want to do things outside. That's it. They love to play.
Yeah.
As a coach, I know that I need competence. If I can get them to be better at doing this, they will become. It will open a world for them. So, and now the only difference is that we're going to try and equip parents and guide parents that when a parent play with a child outside, they've got this awareness. So a conscious play with a child, but for the child, they just want to play with you. That's it.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, so how do parents get hold of this? Where do, obviously the movement alphabet they can download, and when can they join My Sports Hub?
The My Sports Hub platform is going to be online, of course. It's going to be available as of the 1st of July. They can log on right now. They can have a look already. There's 2 levels. We've got the community and we've got the pro. And the community is a platform where we give information to parents about the movement alphabet and information that is going to hopefully give them insight into this process. And then if parents are keen to join us on this journey, on the 1st of July, we're going to start a 10-week cycle of covering each of the skills in the play ready, the sports ready, and the match ready phase. And they can sign up, they can log in, and they can join us. It's going to be exciting. We've got one of the schools in Cape Town have signed up for all their grade R's and grade 1s as well. They're going to join us. The teachers are part of the process, and we look forward to help these students unlock their potential. That's it. They can go to the Facebook page. They can have a look there. It will guide them to the site. It's a new phase. It's something we are so excited about because we can. Previously, we could only reach the children at the schools that we are coaching.
Yeah.
But now you can sign up from England if you feel like it. You know, I think I've got family in the Netherlands that are part of this journey, and I'm excited to be able to play a role in the development of children all over the show. You know, so I think that the students that I coached in Pretoria 25 years ago. Hopefully their kids would be part of this. So it's an exciting new journey. We look forward to it. And the 1st of July we kick off. So please go check it out. Go see whether it makes sense, and join us for the journey.
Thank you, Coach Henk. Thank you so much. Look, guys, if there are any questions or if I've missed anything, there we go. Let me just see. All I can see is morning Coach Henk, and will I get Coach Henk's hat if I sign up? That hat of yours must have a story.
We'll talk about it.
Thank you so much for your time this morning. I'm so grateful and happy that you're doing this, because I really, I want my children to be able to be confident in whatever they do, and I just feel like this kind of journey will give them some of the exposure that they need to be able to do things with confidence, to be physically competent. I now see the role that plays in their development. I'm grateful for that. Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you for the chat, and let's change the world. Let's play the world a better place.
Love it. Thanks, Coach Henk.
Keep well. Bye-bye.
Okay, thanks everyone for watching, and if you have any questions for Coach Henk, please feel free to pop it in the comments, and please go and make sure to download your free movement alphabet and join the My Sports Hub movement.